To the Homestead. I'm Brian. It has been a little bit of time since I did a vlog on our page. That's due to a couple things, coronavirus going on. Then we had some family issues going on that it was just better to put the cameras down and focus in on family first for a little while. But I want to definitely give you an update on some things we have going on. We were working. We weren't slacking off just because we weren't recording, but we did things like we turned this into something like this, and then into this, and then we had Carter's birthday, 5th birthday coming up, so we were against a timeline crunch where we had to get his present done, so we took this and turned it into this. And then we've been busy out in the greenhouse with some stuff, but most importantly, we've got this guy set up over here. This is our chicken brooder that we have set up for 50 Cornish Cross that we have coming to us at any time. This is sadly and unfortunately, it's going to be our second attempt at getting them in. We actually got them in last week. They were hatched on a Monday, and we knew we were in trouble Wednesday afternoon when they didn't arrive. And then we got the call on Thursday morning that our chicks were at the local post office and asked the condition, and they weren't hearing any chirping from the box. And unfortunately, despite the heroic efforts of Christina and some water dropper and her best efforts, she had 6 that were still breathing on arrival, but unfortunately we lost them all. And I'm not going to bore you with any more details on that. It's an unfortunate incident. It's COVID-19 related, nothing to do with the hatchery. They did an investigation. We weren't the only ones to lose our chickens, and it turns out the USPS is shorthanded, like many businesses and operations. They're not exempt from it, and a driver, they were short people to move the chickens off the truck, and they left them on the truck overnight, and unfortunately it got too cold for them. So, but this is what we got set up for our initial. Right now they're going to go 4x4. We'll have this 4x4 area, and me being a new homesteader kind of knucklehead, I went ahead and put down pine shavings. And then I was reading somebody else's, I was reading an article about how the chicks will then eat the pine shavings and sometimes choke. So what I did was I tried to rake them up as quick as possible and provide them what we have here. We've got chickweed. We got some weeds all pulled for them eventually that'll get mixed in with their food. We're using the 24% to get started. Got all our essential tools here. We got our heat gun, so we can make sure that we're keeping them above 98 degrees and make sure we're keeping them nice and warm over the first couple of days. We've got our marbles ready to go to get them drinking water, and our feeders and water equipment. It's all there and ready to go. So fingers crossed that they will be here very soon, and we'll definitely turn on the cameras for that. But also, I wanted to show you guys these planter boxes. It's all pretty darn impressive. This is 30 days of our potatoes here, and they are growing like nobody's business. As well as, if you saw, we planted over here. We have more potatoes. Hopefully I didn't say tomatoes, but our potatoes 30 days in. These are actually like 28 days. Those are at 30. And then our onions here. Our lettuce is slowly getting transplanted over to the old cornfield. We've got that going on. We got our beans and our peas and our spinach coming up very nicely. And then our tomatoes are over here in the corner, and they are doing very, very well, as you can see there. And what else do we have going on? We have, these are all an assortment of peppers. The boys and I really like making salsa, so we're trying to get everything going with that. And we have our peppers going here. We've got some more carrots that we've got to get out in the field. The rest have all been put out there. And then we got to get some more peppers going. What did we get picked up? We got peppers. And then the most important thing for me, my favorite thing, is the pumpkins. We're going to do a pumpkin patch this year. We did one last year. It wasn't successful. I may have over watered them, and we ended up losing quite a bit of pumpkins. Unfortunately, it was our first go. It was our first, if you will, failure on the homestead. But that's it for the greenhouse. Let's go take a look at what we have going on in the corn. We are out in the old cornfield where we cut our rows for our vegetable garden. We have had an amazing amount of rain this April. Hopefully the old saying, April showers bring May flowers, rain's true. But we are we're about, what do we got, 5 complete rows done. These 2 rows here are getting ready to be lettuce rows. Once we get the plants a little more hardy in the greenhouse, we'll get those out here, and once the temperature gets up. And then looking to do a couple more rows over here. But let's look at these guys here. All right, we got our beans, our peas. We've got our, these are tomatoes that are getting a little extra love with some peat moss because it's so wet. So put some peat moss down with those. These are our carrots. More onions over there. And then on this far row we have potatoes, and they as well are getting some peat moss just based on the amount of moisture we have going on and all the rain. We've been out here weeding as frequently as can in between rainstorms, because it has been, there's been some deluges of absolute rain all day long. But what do we have? We're trying to figure out, we've got some bugs out here already, and we're trying to catch them in the act so we can identify them, figure out what we've got going on there. Or it could be water droplets that have, after the rain, and then maybe the sun, like a magnifying glass, burns through, because these are welted in top on in addition. So haven't seen any bugs out here. I got to keep an eye on that. To be honest, I just thought about the water droplet thing. But that's it. We've got our 1 row of lettuce over here going, and after a couple rainstorms it wasn't looking like they were going to make it, but now that we've added some peat moss, it looks like they could. Speaking of some bugs here. And then we have, what we have growing up here is corn. So we're trying to decide if maybe we should let just one of these rows stay corn from, if you can see out there, we've got it still coming up all over the place. We've got the good old perennial corn growing. But we'll see. I think we're doing pretty good so far, doing the best we can with what we have in the environmental conditions, doing just about everything we can to be sustainable at first, and then maybe regenerative as we learn what we're doing and start providing back to the land so the land can keep taking care of us. But for now, that's all I've got for you on the homestead. Take care. Just 1 second, because no update on the homestead is good without a check-in on these ladies. And we are at, what are we, 5 weeks now? 5 weeks? Maybe even 6. They are pretty darn big. There you go, buddy. I got to do check-ins for my man Liam. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching the homestead.